Alright, ladies and gents, we're going to go over the review for our walkaway, for walkaway 7. So, on these first ones, you're supposed to, write the next three terms in the sequence, write the common difference or ratio, that's what DR means, and write what type it is. This one I noticed my pattern is adding 4 every time, so I got 17, 21, 25. It has a common difference of 4, and this one is going to be arithmetic, because that's the definition of arithmetic, is you have a common difference. This one has a pattern of multiplying by 3 every time. Well, not just 3, negative 3. So you're going to get negative 81, and, hold on real quick, let me get this next one, let's see, 81 times negative 3, negative 81 times negative 3 is going to give you 243, positive, times it by negative 3 again, you'll get negative 729. This has a common ratio of negative 3, and since it has a common ratio, it is geometric. Number 3, the pattern here is it's dividing by 2 every time, and so we're going to take 25 divided by 2, so it's going to be 25 divided by 2 again, it gives you a little decimal of 12.5, and when you divide it by 2 again, you get 6.25, and since it's dividing every time, this is going to be a geometric type sequence, and when your pattern is divide by 2, your common ratio is 1 over whatever you're dividing by every time. And in the way you can get that, the way you can always get your common ratio is you take two numbers in your sequence, do the second divided by the first, and simplify. So 200 over 400 would be simplified to 1/2, which is this guy right here. Moving on to number 4. On these next ones, you gotta write the recursive function that goes with it, the explicit one, and then find whatever term it's asking for there at the bottom. This has a pattern of adding 6 every time, so it's arithmetic. It has an initial value of 10, so my common difference is 6. Initial value is 10. I'm ready to write my recursive and explicit functions. The recursive starts out with a sub n equals a sub n minus 1, and then plus 6, and make sure you write down the initial value of 10. You have to have those two different equations on there to make the whole recursive function. The explicit one, I'll do it in the function notation for your viewing pleasure. The common difference goes in front of n minus 1 in parentheses, and then add the 10. And I need to now find the 10th term in the sequence, so I'm going to take 10, plug it in for n, and solve for there. 10 minus 1 is 9, times 6 is 54, plus 10 is 64. 5, this has a pattern of timesing by 4 every time, and so I have a common ratio of 4, an initial value of 3. I'm ready to write my recursive and explicit functions. A sub n equals, you can either do 4 times a sub n minus 1, or a sub n minus 1 times 4. You can put it before or after, because in multiplication you can go either way. And same with this previous one, I could have done 6 in front, but I didn't. And don't forget to put your initial value down in a separate equation. A sub 1 equals 3. Now we can get our explicit one as well, and I'm just going to use sequent notation for this one. I do a sub n equals initial value times common ratio to the n minus 1 power. And there you go, there's your explicit function. You now need to plug in 7 in for n in your explicit function to get the 7th term. And so when we do that, 7 minus 1 gives you 6, so we got to do 4 to the 6th power, which is 4096 times it by 3, and you're going to get 12,288. Moving on to 6, this has a pattern of dividing by negative 3, so my common ratio would be negative 1/3. My initial value is 243, and so I'm ready to write my recursive function. A sub n equals negative 1/3 times a sub n minus 1, and a sub 1 equals 243. So there's my whole recursive function. I'm going to do the explicit one. and using sequence notation. And you got to do 243 times negative 1/3 to the n minus 1 power. And make sure your common ratio has the power of n minus 1. Now you just need to take 6 and plug it in for n and go from there. And if you kind of notice, I already have 4 terms of my sequence. I could divide 9 by negative 3 to get 3, and then divide by negative 3 to get negative 1. Right there. Or if you want to plug it in, it would give you the same result. So you do basically 3 to the 5th power. That goes on bottom of your fraction. Yeah, if you plug it in, you get negative 1. It'll calculate it for you. Yeah. So that's gonna be our first video.